Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Go Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Go Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
We're reading from Sri Caitanya Caritamrita. This is a verse spoken by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatan Goswami. The verse is also found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That means that these verses were quite current in their time, and therefore they show up in different places. So we are in the beginning, the very beginning of Sanatan Siksha. The very beginning of Sanatan Siksha, the instruction given by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatan Goswami. We've just finished, in the preceding chapter, you would have finished, Lord Chaitanya instructing Rupa Goswami. As you may remember, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami met Lord Chaitanya at Ramkeli. Lord Chaitanya was intending to go from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan. But as it turned out, he said, upon returning to Jagannath Puri and not having got past Bengal, he never made it to Vrindavan on the first attempt. He said one of the main purposes in that apparent aborted journey was to meet Rupa and Sanatan Goswami at the famous meeting at Ramkeli, where they begged for Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Evidently, Rupa Goswami was first of the two brothers to get permission to go and join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, Sanatan Goswami, who was also in the employ of the Muslim government, just as Rupa, Sanatan Goswami decided to stay at home and not report for work. He stayed at home and surrounded himself with Bhagavatam scholars and continuously heard Srimad Bhagavatam morning till night. And so his boss, the Nawab, was wondering, what's going on? Where's my right-hand man? Because the Nawab, the Muslim ruler, would spend most of his time plundering and looting neighboring regions. And so he relied upon Sanatan to keep the state together while he's out plundering. And their relationship was practically like brothers. And so Sanatan sent in a work excuse. I can't come in to the office, so to speak, because I'm ill. Meanwhile, Sanatan is at home, surrounded by Bhagavatam reciters day and night. So, the Nawab, being a ruler, decided to investigate the excuse. Because he heard that, well, wait a minute now, he's reporting sick, but actually, I've heard rumors he's at home doing fine, listening to some Hindu shastras. So the Nawab came himself to check out what was going on. He said, what are you doing? I'm relying on you to maintain the state while I'm out plundering, looting, hunting, and all these other good things. And so Sanatan told him in so many words, I'm not into this anymore. I have something else in mind. But the Nawab said, look, if you don't do this, who will? We're like brothers. And Sanatan, in so many words, told him, it's over, it's finished. And so the Nawab stormed out of Sanatan Goswami's residence, angry, and gave the order, he should be arrested. I'm going out now for plundering. I'm going to invade Orissa. In the meantime, until I come back, Sanatan, whose name was Dabirkas, he should remain imprisoned. So, Rupa had already gone to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa and the youngest brother, Anupama, who happened to die on the way, leave his body, didn't make it all the way to join Mahaprabhu. So that left Sanatan Goswami, who had these political difficulties, but Rupa had left Sanatan Goswami a big emergency stash of 10,000 gold coins. They were Rupa and Sanatan were very highly placed. They were the topmost. They were like prime minister, both of them. And so they had amassed quite a fortune. But as we'll discuss later, due to their intimate association with non-devotees, they even had Muslim names, Dabirkas, Sakara Malik, although they were born in a high Brahmana caste. So we'll hear more about that later. So Sanatan was in prison, and then Rupa Goswami contacted him somehow or other and told him, take that 10,000 gold coins and get out of prison and come join us. So Sanatan, being an expert diplomat due to his government service, knew just what to do. He said to the jailkeeper, he took 5,000 gold coins. These are not brass coins. These are gold coins. He took the 5,000 gold coins and stacked them in front of the jailkeeper. Look, take these gold coins. I promise you, I'm going on a pilgrimage to a holy place. I'm going to Mecca. The jailkeeper was fascinated by all those gold coins, but he was worried. He told Sanatan, yeah, this looks like a good deal, but what will I say to the Nawab when he comes back from plundering Orissa and asks, where's Sanatan? Why isn't he in jail? What am I supposed to say? So then Sanatan invented a story for him. You see, diplomacy has its uses in devotional service. Just like King Kamsa, when he recruited Akrura to go to Vrindavan and bring back Krishna and Balaram, he thought Vaishnavas are sentimental, they don't know the ways of the world. So that's why he presented to Akrura, Kamsa presented to Akrura, a flashy brand new chariot, thinking that would really affect Akrura's mind. Wouldn't you like to be the first one to ride on this? You can do that if you do my bidding. Take this brand new chariot, you'll be the first to ride on it, and bring back Krishna and Balaram. And as I often mention, what was Akrura thinking? Who knows? I'm so happy that it'll be a brand new chariot that I bring Krishna and Balaram back to Mathura, because I wouldn't want to put them on a chariot that you've ridden on, you demon. So this is an example of how devotees think one way and the non-devotees think another way. So Sanatan Goswami was no, how do you say, was no schoolboy. He was wise, he was streetwise, we would say these days. And so he knew government dealings and diplomacy at the highest level. So he easily could handle the jailkeeper. The jailkeeper was, his mind was reeling. 5,000 gold coins, yeah. But he was worried about his safety. When the Nab comes back, I'm the jailkeeper, and Sanatan Goswami's gone from jail. What am I going to say? So Sanatan gave him a story. This is what you tell him. Tell him that Sanatan was going to the Ganga, to the bank of the Ganga, to pass. To pass stool. And he still had his chains on. And so he decided just to jump in the river, and he drowned. Sanatan told him, don't worry, you won't see me around to cause any difficulty to that story, because I'll be going on pilgrimage to Mecca. And then Sanatan stacked another 5,000 gold coins. And the jailkeeper, he couldn't resist. Oh, yes, okay. So we'll discuss how it is that the former Dabir Khas and Shakar Malik lost their Brahmana status. But for now, we'll chant this verse, which Lord Chaitanya spoke to Sanatan Goswami upon their meeting. Achiradeva Sarvata Sidyat Yesham Abhipshitaha Sadharmasya Vabodhaya Yesham Nirbandhani Mati Achiradeva Sarvata Sidyat Yesham Abhipsitaha Sadharmasya Vabodhaya Yesham Nirbandhani Mati Achirat Eva Sarvata Sidyat Yesham Abhipsitaha Sadharmasya Vabodhaya Yesham Nirbandhani Mati
Achiradeva Sarvata Sidyat Yesham Abhipsitaha Sadharmasya Vabodhaya Yesham Nirbandhani Mati Achiradeva Sarvata Sidyat Yesham Abhipsitaha
Tachirat, very soon. Eva, certainly. Sarva Artha, the goal of life. Siddhyati, becomes fulfilled. Esham, of these persons. Abhipsita, desired. Sat Dharmasya, of the path of progressive devotional service. Of Abodhaya, for understanding. Yesham, those who. Nirbandhini, unflinching. Mati, intelligence. Translation. Those who are eager to awaken their spiritual consciousness and who thus have unflinching, undeviated intelligence certainly attain the desired goal of life very soon. Purport. This verse, quoted from the Naradiya Purana, is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Om Agana Timadandasya Agana Jana Shalakaya Chakshur Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Sanatan Goswami has met up with Lord Chaitanya, and he makes the classic presentation to Lord Chaitanya. He's going to ask questions, and the questions are going to be nourished by strength from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In other words, asking questions in spiritual life is not an ordinary thing. We think that the answer should be empowered, but also even the questions you ask should be based on spiritual empowerment. At least make that request to Krishna. May this question be appropriate. May it bring about an increase in wisdom. May it contribute to what we heard in the verse today, Sat Dharmasya, the development of progressive devotional service. So it's not an ordinary thing that Sanatan Goswami is asking questions. And the example is given that Ramananda Roy received questions from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in this way, Ramananda Roy was empowered to answer Lord Chaitanya's questions. In the same way, Sanatan Goswami is empowered to ask questions. So you see, in both the questions and answers, there should be dependency on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Charitamrita tells us, formerly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had asked Ramananda Roy spiritual questions, and by the Lord's causeless mercy, Ramananda Roy could properly reply. Now, by the Lord's mercy, Sanatan Goswami questioned the Lord, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally supplied the truth. So this is the beginning, as I said earlier, of Sanatan Siksha, Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatan Goswami, which are passed down to us. Just as in the preceding chapter, you have the Siksha, the instructions to Rupa Goswami, which are passed down to us. And you see those instructions in Nectar Devotion, which is a summary study of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So now Sanatan Goswami adopts the classic posture of humility. And he's not just doing this as a drama, as a show. This is bhakti. And so he's doing the classic posture of humility that was of that time. We don't expect anyone to do this today. He put a piece of straw in his mouth. Remember, lower than the straw in the street? You won't be able to find these days any straw. Straw doesn't mean what you suck through. It means like, bedding for horses and just stuff that grows weeds or like that. So he took a piece of straw and put it in his mouth and bowed down, holding Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet, and humbly inquired. And I learned this verse as a young devotee. Nij jati, nij sangi, patita adama, ku vishaya kube pari goinanu janama. I was born in a low family, and my associates are all low-class men. I myself am fallen, and I am the lowest of men. Indeed, I have passed my whole life fallen in the well of sinful materialism. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains that here is the greatest authority in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, explaining how you can be fallen simply by your association. Nij sangi, bad association, bad sangi. Rupa and Sanatan had been born in a high caste Brahmana family. Yet, because of their intimate dealings with the Muslim government, associating with meat eaters, associating with those who don't have any proper achar, proper behavioral standards, they became contaminated, and they were considered to be like those who they were associated with. Yet, by contact with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became the greatest authorities. Members of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So Sanatan Goswami is presenting himself in this way. I was born in a low family. My associates are all low class. So what does it mean, a low family and associates are all low class? These days, if you've got money, then you're considered high class. Never mind your eating habits, never mind how you conduct your family affairs, never mind your personal hygiene, your mental cleanliness, your physical cleanliness. You can be engaged in lust, anger, and greed over your head. You can be drowning in lust, anger, and greed, envy. But if you've got money, if you own properties, if you've got investment properties, then high class. Your children can be mentally distressed and full of anxiety, but because the family has money, you're doing well, you're doing nicely. But Sanatan Goswami is not fooled by such. He admits, we had it all, Rupa and I. We had all the wealth, all the influence, all the power. We were practically the ones ruling on behalf of the Noah. But we were so fallen because of our association. So when Lord Chaitanya is asked, elsewhere in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he's asked, what is the first symptom of a Vaishnava? Who knows? No one has read Chaitanya Charitamrita. A satsanga jog. The first symptom of a Vaishnava is he or she gives up the association of those dedicated to the asa, to the temporary. That's the first principle. So this is what Sanatan Goswami is pointing out. The dangers that even though we were born in a top caste Brahmana family, top caste from the material point of view, even though we had that status, by our association, we sank to the bottom of the pile. So that's why he's presenting himself to Lord Chaitanya, clasping Mahaprabhu's feet with a piece of straw in his mouth. he's presenting himself in this way. I've passed my whole life. Ku vishaya kupe pari goinanu janam. My whole life I've been passed at the bottom of the well of sinful materialism. So this is teaching us how we always are careful about our association. Because you take on the mentality and habits, consciously or subconsciously, from those you associate with. And the principle works very subtly, that you may not even notice what's going on, but how you may not notice how you're taking on not simply vibrations, but taking on motivations, taking on desires of such persons. So now he confesses to Lord Chaitanya because he says, people think I'm such a prudent person, prime minister, people think I'm strategic, I'm practical, I'm pragmatic, I'm a tactician, but what is the truth? I don't know what's beneficial for me or what is detrimental. I don't know my real self-interest. Yet, people think I'm a learned scholar. And die Satyamani, I'm such a fool, I believe them. This is another effect of bad association. They start making you feel puffed up because of material accomplishments, and you start to take it on board. Yeah. The devotees never appreciated my material accomplishments. They never appreciated my business acumen and my good looks and my academic achievements. But the others, the non-devotees, yeah, they value these things. So you start taking on their aspirations, their motivations. So Sanatan Goswami is presenting himself as the prime evidence, prime example. They said like that about me. People considered me to be so great, and I'm such a fool, I believe them. I was thinking in that way, thinking of myself in that way. So then he says to Lord Chaitanya, out of your causeless mercy. Have you ever started thinking about what causeless mercy is? You've heard the phrase all the time, and you may not think deeply about it. Causeless mercy means there's no apparent reason for it. Just like there are no clouds in the sky, but rain sometimes falls. So that is causeless mercy. Sanatan Goswami is saying, we didn't deserve it. Out of your causeless mercy, you've delivered me from the materialistic path. Now, with that same mercy, with that same causeless mercy, tell me what my duty is. So in other words, I'm relieved from material existence, but spiritual life doesn't end with that. I'm liberated from material existence. Now what? It's very important. Actually, bhakti begins from the point of liberation. Whereas impersonalists and voidists, if they would actually attain liberation, that would be the end of their path, freedom from material existence. But in bhakti, that's just the beginning. Bhakti is mainly about activities after liberation. Positive spiritual activities, positive spiritual qualities, positive spiritual form. So Sanatan's progression of his inquiry is very important. You've delivered me from materialistic path. Now what do I do? So he asked the famous question. I started thinking about speaking on this section of Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita because one devotee a few days ago asked me, what's my identity? Who am I? So that's Sanatan Goswami's question. to Lord Chaitanya. What does he say? Keami, keni amai, jare tapa choy, iha nahe jani, kemone hitahoy. Who am I? Why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble? If I do not know this, how can I be benefited? Who am I? Presently, in this darkness of Kali Yuga, people think it is very exhilarating and liberating to define yourself with no reference to anything outside of you, which is impossible. But anyway, you can become intoxicated in that way. I am me. I'm defining who I am. That is authenticity. There's a big push in the Western world, at least, to be authentic, meaning you create and sustain your own identity. It sounds very fascinating, but it's actually very hard work. It's a great struggle. And as a result of such hard labor in trying to create and sustain their own identity, people are losing their mind. They're being overrun by mental anxiety disorders, stress. But it sounds cool at first, doesn't it? Make yourself what you are. What you are, you make. And then you're told that you're just physicality, there's nothing more to you than matter. The universe has no purpose. It's just a cold, dark place of remote activity, random activity. So you have to make your own meaning in this spot of a life. There's no right or wrong outside of your own mind. Whatever your mind says is right and wrong, that's what it is. There's nothing more to it than that. No standards of behavior. Everything is just what you create. So there's something called, in psychological circles, called self-determination. It doesn't mean what you think it means. If you're thinking through Srimad Bhagavatam, the lens of Srimad Bhagavatam, self-determination in the Kali Yuga lens means whatever urge you feel, act on it. Just like the kid was. The adults should do the same thing. That is self-determination. Why repress? Whatever urges come to you, act on immediately, and you're liberated. The problem is that even mundane psychologists show acting in this way reduces your happiness. But such mundane analysts admit that at first there seems to be a bit of a buzz you get by just do it. I feel like this, just do it. There seems to be an immediate buzz. But very soon, your happiness is reduced as you cause pain and depression to yourself and others. So you may recall what Krishna says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What seems to be so nice at first quickly turns out to be hellish. Whereas happiness in the mode of goodness seems to be poisonous at first, but shows itself very soon to be nectarian. So mundane psychological scholars admit that if you just do it, act according to your urge, there's a measurable temporary pickup. But then comes the downfall. So this version of self-determination is not at all beneficial. It's not human life. It's animal life. Human beings have the ability to delay their gratification, withstand their desire for gratification for a higher purpose. That's why the Shastra says, Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. So someone who wants the Shreyas, the ultimate goal, and not the Prayas, the immediate buzz, they need to approach a guru. That defines the candidacy, the genuine candidacy of approaching a guru. Jigyashu Shreya Uttamam. You are inquisitive about the ultimate benefit. But in today's so-called culture, ultimate benefit sounds so distant, doesn't it? Think about your ultimate benefit. Ooh. Sounds pie in the sky, doesn't it? Way up there, ultimate benefit. Because we're so brainwashed, so conditioned to act according to our immediate urges, thinking that will fulfill us. And to help you act according to your immediate urges, you have the backing of all the media, multimedia, social media, all pushing on you. Just do it. Act how you feel now. It's a liberating feeling, exhilarating, shedding all inhibitions. But as it turns out, such persons are miserable and make others miserable. How do they make others miserable? By injecting others with that same poison. Yeah, just do it, man. Just act like this. Forget all those fuddy-duddy behavior guidelines of your grandparents. What do they know? We're all going to die anyway, so get it while you can. So this is one of the many atrocities that are crushing people today, especially the younger generation. There are no guidelines. There are no principles except what pleases yourself right now, or what you think will please yourself right now. Just do it. Act on your wildest dreams. Act on your wildest desires. Ha ha! This is self-determination. Whereas the whole Vedic culture, the whole path of Dharma goes the opposite way. So as we often point out, those persons who you call materialists, you're actually giving them too much credit. These days, real materialists don't exist. A real materialist wants to act in such a way that he or she enjoys materially now and in the next life. That's a real materialist. But what you have today is human beings who destroy their future and they also destroy their present. But if you can just give them 1 minute of temporary gratification, they think, oh, I'm successful. So a real materialist follows the Vedic path of material happiness, good karma, so that you enjoy in this life, and then you take birth into heavenly planets, or at least take birth in a wealthy, prosperous family on earth. But who knows how to do that? But those are the real materialists, those who do that. So you're giving too much credit when you call people today materialists, especially since not only are they ignorant of the future happiness, but they're destroying their own happiness in the present. Destroying their environment, destroying their mind, destroying their body. So Sanatan Goswami's questions are very important. Who am I? Number 1. Number 2, why do the miseries always give me trouble? Miseries of the body and mind. Miseries caused by others. miseries caused by material nature. Why? At every moment, it's either this misery or that misery of the three. I was just hearing, I listened when taking breakfast and lunch to Prabhupada's Teachings of Lord Chaitanya audiobook. And he was describing adibhotic, miseries from other living entities, and he included creatures from other planets. I know that was quite exotic. Other human beings, insects, animals, creatures from other planets. So, Sanatan goes to number 3 in his inquiry. If I don't know this, how can I be benefited? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves. If we don't know who am I, if I don't know why the threefold miseries always give me trouble, how can I benefit myself? And what do we say as denizens of Kali Yuga? Oh, we'll be all right. Yeah, we'll work something out. So this is the situation. So then Sanatan says, actually, I do not know how to inquire about the goal of life and the process for obtaining it. Being merciful upon me, please explain all these truths. So he's saying, I actually don't even know how to inquire. But he's being empowered by Lord Chaitanya to ask the right questions. So Mahaprabhu replies, whatever you asked about, these things are already known to you, because Lord Krishna has bestowed his full mercy upon you. So actually for you, the threefold miseries don't exist. Yet, you're inquiring for the benefit of others. You certainly know all these things because you possess Lord Krishna's potency, Krishna Shakti. But it's the nature of sadhus to inquire for the benefit of others and to make the subject matter even more clear. So then we get to today's verse. Acharat eva sarvartha siddhya yesham abhipshitaha sadharmasya prabodhaya yesham nirbandhini mati. Those who are eager to awaken their spiritual consciousness and who thus have unflinching, undeviated intelligence, certainly attain the desired goal of life very soon. So this is what we want to acquire. Eagerness to awaken our spiritual consciousness. If you don't feel that eagerness, you have to take a deep look at yourself and wonder what's going on. Because without eagerness for awakening spiritual consciousness, you'll become eager to try to exploit material nature, which is what a conditioned soul does. Exploit bodies, exploit minds, exploit the environment, exploit other human beings, other creatures, other species, exploit future generations. That's the modus operandi, that's the methodology of a conditioned soul. So what are we eager for? And sometimes we realize that all the time we need to beg Krishna for that eagerness to awaken our spiritual consciousness. With our chanting, with our devotional service, with our interactions with other devotees. How can I act in such a way that I awaken my spiritual consciousness? So I'm not so dull and victimized by the movements of my mind. So what else? Who thus have unflinching, undeviated intelligence. Where does that come from? Unflinching, undeviated intelligence. Sounds like a big mouthful, doesn't it? Far beyond us. That comes by hearing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Caritamrita, and striving to act on what you hear. Gradually your intelligence develops. it thickens, it becomes solidified, gradually, progressively. That's why we hear in the word for word, Sat Dharmasya, of the path of progressive devotional service. So this is a lifetime career at least. Eternally, we are Krishna's servants. But at least look at this lifetime and make a plan how you will serve Krishna as your lifetime career. It's not that your time in the Association of Devotees is a particular phase that you go through before you get down to the real business of life, which is material career advancement, material studies. No, the materials career, the material studies, that's to, if you need it, that's to support your spiritual activities. Supplementary, not the main meal. The main meal is to develop undeviated, unflinching spiritual intelligence. Progressively. So see your whole life as an unfolding of undeviated, unflinching spiritual intelligence. And then you know you're on track. What will protect you against all the ups and downs of the world and calamities and tragedies and allurements, enticements, temptations? What will protect you? That kind of spiritual intelligence, which is the gift of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, Bhagavad Gita. So sometimes we have to face the facts that bhakti has knowledge. We may not have been so knowledge keen in our pre-devotee days, but it is a fact that by knowledge of Krishna, by knowledge of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes, your chanting is better, you avoid offenses, your attraction for Krishna is much more intense. Because unless you know about Krishna, how are you going to be attracted? As I was explaining Wednesday, in the beginning, so many of us come out of material exhaustion, material despair. Our material past were horrible, unfulfilling, monotonous, devastation all the time. Parents who didn't know what they were doing. Friends who actually turned out to be your worst enemies. Partners who abused you. So you come to bhakti and relief, which is good. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sukriti, such persons have auspicious merit because in their distress, they're approaching Krishna. But that won't sustain you. That kind of motivation will not sustain you. You have to develop positive attraction for Krishna. And to develop positive attraction for Krishna, you need to know the science of devotional service. And that's what your life is meant for, the progressive development of love of Krishna. So you may wonder, we were discussing the other day, I think Mahavan Prabhu asked the question. All these classifications of different types of ecstasy that you read in Nectar of Devotion, Anubhava, Vyabhichari, Sanchari Bhava, this, that, the other, all these. This seems quite technical, doesn't it? But as you develop in bhakti, you become more and more attracted to understanding that because you're interested in love of Krishna. So yes, what is Vyabhichari? What is Anubhava? What subordinate symptoms of ecstatic love? preliminary symptoms of ecstatic love. What is all this? You become fascinated by it. And you'll find that in an abbreviated manner in the instructions Lord Chaitanya gave to Rupa Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in this way, the bhakti yogi becomes a love bug. You're interested in love of Krishna. How does it work? What are the symptoms? What are the characteristics? So I know at first you read all these things in Nectar Devotion, especially in the second half of Nectar Devotion, and you wonder, what's the point of all that? Isn't love just love? But in Nectar Devotion, which is summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and it's also there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you find out that the subject of love of Krishna is so deep and so fascinating, so multifaceted. How many lifetimes will it take to just get it, to understand a drop of it? That's why Mahaprabhu explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita that one drop, just one drop of pure love of Krishna can drown the whole universe. Can drown everyone in the whole universe. So yes, as a bhakti yogi, you're on track to becoming a love bug. You're fascinated by love of Krishna, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's activities, Krishna's form. Why does Krishna do this? Why does he do that? What's the ashtasattvika, the 8 ecstatic symptoms? Becomes more and more relishable to you, because that's what your eternal constitutional position is. To be the servant of Krishna. And to be the servant of Krishna is not like mundane employment. So all the rasas, all the 5 relationships with Krishna, 4 of the 5, have service as their common basis. So even the most intimate associates of Krishna conceive of themselves, think of themselves as maid servants of Krishna. So again, a few days ago someone was asking me, what is my identity? You can't define your identity materially in a way that will avoid driving you crazy. Just think, I'm just a collection of material phenomena. There's no right or wrong except what's in my mind. I create my own meaning. There are no standards. It's just, you'll go crazy. And that's what's happening in the world today. Each successive generation is becoming more and more deranged. So again, as we were talking in the beginning, it seems so liberating, so enthralling, so exhilarating. I create my own meaning. I am authentic. I take my self-meaning from no one. I make it all up myself. That's hard work to sustain. Some of you have tried it. So what you see happening today in Western society, we're talking about especially, it's gradually coming to India, but in Western society what you see is persons buckling under the load of making their own identity. They can't, it's like a big boulder on their back they're trying to carry. I gotta be for real, I gotta be me. I'm being me, I'm doing me. It's hard work. We're too tiny. And you think Maya is just going to let you successfully fashion an identity for yourself and live happily ever after? No way. You want to be a fool? I'll make you suffer. That's Maya's program. So much for your creating and sustaining your own identity. So the questions asked by Sanatan Goswami are very important. Who am I? Why am I suffering the threefold miseries? How do I think I can benefit myself if I don't know the answer to these questions? And people thought I was a great scholar, and I, the fool, believed them. Look at who I associated with. I took on the habits of those I associated with. Therefore, I'm the most fallen, in spite of my high caste birth. So this is a very dramatic moment in Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita. And remember, Lord Chaitanya's telling Sanatan Goswami, you know these things, you've got Krishna's mercy, but you're inquiring just for the sake of others, for the sake of clarifying the subject matter. Lord Krishna has already bestowed his mercy on you. All these things are known to you. Actually, for you, the threefold miseries don't exist. But Sanatan wants to go past liberation from the threefold miseries. Therefore, he's asking Mahaprabhu. At the deepest level, he's asking Mahaprabhu, what happens after liberation? All right, any questions?